Hello, welcome to another Becoming a Modern Man. We are playing Dredge, and this time we're running up against Jeskai control. So let's get underway. This is our opening hand. It's not the best, but we do have a turn 1 Faithless Looting. You can pitch Loam and this Amalgam, or Loam and this Conflagrate, and then start dredging. So, not the best hand, but I think we can run with this. We draw into Golgari, Thug, and Instant Neonate, which I don't think changes with the cards we want to discard here. In theory, we could pitch the Thug to dredge that instead. Which, yeah, I suppose in hindsight, maybe we should have pitched the Thug instead, given that we can cast Life from the Loam more readily. So we dredge Life from the Loam. Find another Amalgam in the bin, so really we just want to look for a Bloodghast or I guess a Narcomoeba. So I'm going to push for that basically. I'm just going to play this Neonate, dredge back the Golgari Thug after discarding it, and hope to find a Bloodghast or something along those lines. Fortunately we don't, so we're just going to play our land here and pass the turn. But we did find a couple of Stinkweed Imps, which means we're going to be dredging that much deeper from now on. So, dredge back the Stinkweed Imp. Again, unfortunately no cards that we were looking for in terms of cards we can get back from the graveyard. We do put another Amalgam into the graveyard though, which is nice for when we do get there. And we're just going to play Loam and play another land here in preparation of potentially Faithless, flashing back Faithless, looting next turn, or various other plays we could make. We're going to dredge back the Stinkweed Imp. That hits a Narcomoeba. It also hits a Bloodghast, so our patience has paid off, and we're going to get 3 Amalgams back here. Just going to play out the land and get the Bloodghast back, and then we're going to flashback Faithless Looting. Going to pitch Stinkweed Imp and this Conflagrate. It'd be nice to get this into the graveyard because with Loam going, we can get a substantial number of cards into our hand, and that can hit pretty hard. So we'll see what our opponent does here. Opponent has just a Celestial Colonnade and no further play. We get another Narcomoeba here. I'm going to attack. Opponent paths our Bloodghast away, but it's going to take 10 here. I go for the Life from the Loam post-combat, but our opponent Logic knots the Loam, which is fine. Basically, we're just looking to get as many cards into hand as possible for this Conflagrate. Dredge back Loam, cast it here. I probably should have done this post-combat. As it turns out, our opponent has Cryptic Command and then counter taps. So fortunately, we can just play this land. We've got another Bloodghast in the graveyard, and it's going to have haste thanks to our opponent being on 9, so we can hit our opponent down to 7. So not the worst, but we probably should have just done that post-combat. Opponent has Snapcaster, Path to Exile, which takes out the prized Amalgam. I think he's got another path for a second prized Amalgam. We don't have any basic lands left, so no chance of getting those, but not overly relevant. Get back Loam, and that finds another couple of Bloodghast into our graveyard, I think. So obviously our opponent unable to deal with that, unable to block, and will be dealt with. And even if he had, even if they did have a way of surviving this combat, we've got Conflagrate, and we can do that for 7. So we could have just burned them out if that was a problem at all. So that worked out pretty nicely. Obviously, our opponent didn't really get much going, but I mean, I guess their deck is probably not overly well set up against our type of deck. A lot like targeted removal isn't all that great. Path's not bad, obviously, in terms of that it gets rid of the creature and it doesn't go to the graveyard, so we can't recur it. But it's not a great way of dealing with our sort of like swarm style attack methods. Yeah, I think they're not exactly well set up against us. Cards like Lightning Bolt, Path to Exile aren't the best at dealing with the threats that we pose. So that sort of works pretty well in our favour, certainly in game one. So let's go into sideboarding. Okay, in terms of sideboarding, I mean, our main deck's pretty good against them, I think, in general. In terms of cards we want to bring in, I think the main things we want to really be concerned about, as I say, I don't think their main deck is very well set up against us. So I think the things we really want to be worried about are the hate cards that they potentially are bringing in. Rest in Peace is a pretty awful card for us. I don't know whether they'll necessarily be running it, given that they're a Snapcaster deck, in essence. It's maybe not the card that they will play. But Rest in Peace, Relic of Progenitus, other sort of graveyard hate cards are kind of what we want to be looking out for, because that's the real problems that we're going to face potentially from this deck. So in terms of that, I think we probably want to be bringing in Thought Seizes and either Abrupt Decays or Nature's Claims. I suppose Abrupt Decay is probably the more versatile of those. So I think, given that we don't really know what kind of hate our opponent might have, I think we'll probably go for the Abrupt Decays and the Thought Seizes. In terms of cards to take out, I think Dark Blast probably comes out. Can kill off Snapcaster Mages, but I don't think that's really a big concern for us, so it's unlikely to have many targets, and I don't think we really want that here. All the other cards are pretty good, so it's probably just a matter of shaving maybe a Narcomoeba, maybe a Golgari Thug, or something along those lines, and just getting rid of those into exchange for the cards we want to bring in here. But yeah, just shaving down on a few of our cards to make room for those. So here we are with game 2. This is our opening hand, but it doesn't do anything, so we definitely want to mulligan this. This is a bit better. We've got turn 1 Thoughtseize if we want it. Additionally, we've got Neonate into discarding Haunted Dead, and then we can pitch Prized Amalgam and another card to Haunted Dead's ability, and that will allow us to get both back and put 6 power on the board, so that looks pretty nice. We see Arid Mesa on the top. I don't know if we're going to bottom or top this. I suppose potentially you want to top this because the Darkmoor Salvage comes into play tapped, which could be annoying, but I'm not sure what I did here. Looks like I bottomed it, and we get Life from the Loam, which doesn't do a whole lot here, but I suppose we can pitch that to Haunted Dead as well. But maybe we should have kept the land there, actually, in hindsight. So Thoughtseize, we get to see our opponent's hand. So opponent's got Serum Visions, which interestingly they didn't play on turn 1. I don't know if they were just anticipating that they would need to path something on turn 1, but I definitely would have played the Serum Visions if I was them. Alternatively, we have... I suppose I could take the Serum Visions and try and prevent him from setting anything up. Path to Exile's kind of annoying, because as it stands, we're probably going to be able to put like a couple of creatures onto the battlefield. So I think that's probably what we're going to take. Logic Knot we're not overly concerned about because we're not doing a lot of casting of spells, and when we are, they're often dredge spells that we can just get back, so it's not overly effective. Elspeth is kind of a concern for the future, but I don't think we really want to be taking that. And additionally, Supreme Verdict isn't terribly effective against us, so I think this is fine. We'll just take the Path to Exile. It fetches, passes a turn back. We draw a land, which is fortunate. I think I suppose we still need to pitch the Haunted Dead at this point in time, so I suppose it's not all that concerning. He's passed the turn. Our opponent just passed the turn with playing a colonnade, and we draw another land. We can attack for 1 here, and then we're going to pitch the Neonate, discard Haunted Dead, draw into Abrupt Decay, which is nice, and we're just going to discard Amalgam and Life from the Loam here. Getting back Haunted Dead. Our opponent, I think, tries to counter the Haunted Dead's ability, but obviously that's not possible. It's not a spell, it's just an ability from the graveyard. So obviously this is one of the advantages our deck has over these kind of blue-red control decks, is that we're not actually really trying to cast spells, so counter magic isn't very effective against us. Opponent plays Ruined Halo, naming Amalgam, which isn't the end of the world, to be quite honest, but we do have the Abrupt Decay here to answer that. Going to fetch here. I don't know whether that was necessarily a good idea. We didn't really need to fetch there, so potentially that was a bad move in terms of we can actually... Oh, I suppose we're fetching here because then we're planning to dredge up the Life from the Loam, which and then we can get at least 1 card back with it. So yeah, I suppose that does make more sense on second thoughts. Okay, so we dredge back Loam. We don't really find anything of particular interest, but now we do have 2 lands that we can loam back at least. So we're going to loam. Get back 2 lands. Play our fetch here. Obviously just pulling lands out of our deck at this point. Going to Abrupt Decay the Ruined Halo. Just then going to allow us to attack in and get 6 damage in on our opponent. Looking down to 12. There's another land. And he's getting into Celestial Colonnade mana, which I suppose is something we do need to be somewhat wary of. Opponent plays Verdict, which is a bit of a roadblock for us, but we are going to be able to loam here and then pitch 2 of our cards to get back to the position we were in terms of our board state. Double Conflagrate in the graveyard as well, which will be nice here in combination with this loam that we've got going. Played Elspeth, makes a bunch of tokens, so it's certainly an interesting position. With Dredge, find an Archamoeba and a Bloodghast, which is good. Fortunately, our opponent's on 11 rather than 10, so we don't get haste with our Bloodghast. So going to Life from the Loam here, getting back 3 lands. So we've got 5 cards for a Conflagrate, so we could just kill the Elspeth here with that and then attack. But I think what we decide to go for here is go in all in attack on the Elspeth, and hopefully this leads to us just killing off his soldier tokens sort of needlessly. So yeah, opponent blocks. We get to take out a couple of soldier tokens, and then we obviously deal 1 damage to the Elspeth. So in theory we could discard all our cards and kill off this soldier token. I don't think I care enough about the soldier token, so I don't bother doing that, but I suppose it can save him 3 points of damage, so maybe we should have taken out the soldier token as well. But this way we get to play a land and get our Bloodghast back, which is kind of valuable. So that's the reason I didn't go all in on that. Opponent paths the Bloodghast. Don't think we have a basic to find. No, we've got all our basics in the graveyard at the moment. Oh, sorry about that, we just had to catch up with the replay because again, Dredge seems to break the replay from time to time. So yeah, we dredge back Life from the Loam. There's another Amalgam that goes into the graveyard there. The opponent has Cryptic here to tap our team, which is fine. Into Life from the Loam. And again, we can set up another fairly substantial Conflagrate. potentially for next turn. So that's what we're going to look to do here. We found another Bloodghast, another prized amalgam into the graveyard. Unfortunately, our opponent is on 11, so we do need to get that extra point of damage in before we can give our Bloodghast haste. But that's Helix for an amalgam, but no blocks, so he's getting down to 10 here, which is good for us. Get back my Bloodghast, and just also going to bring back a load of prized amalgams, and then we're also going to Life from the Loam, again setting up a fairly substantial Conflagrate. But we're going to have plenty of power on the board, so our opponent's definitely going to be in need of an answer, potentially a Verdict or another Cryptic Command. Let's bring back a couple of Bloodghasts here. And everyone goes in. And yeah, that finishes the game. I suppose we possibly shouldn't have attacked with everything because our opponent potentially could have had... the name of the card escapes me now. The 4-mana card that exiles all attacking creatures. Settle Wreckage, that's the one. So yeah, I suppose potentially we should have held back on a few of our creatures here, just in case our opponent had Settle the Wreckage. But even if the opponent didn't, I think we were pretty close to being able to just Conflagrate for the win. Yeah, that worked out nicely. In terms of this matchup in general, I think it's pretty favourable for us. I think we're very well set up against them. They're sort of like targeted removal, as I mentioned earlier. Things like Helix, Lightning Bolt, Path to Exile. They're fine, but they don't really deal with the fact that we go wide on the board. They've obviously got stalling tactics and powerful cards. Things like Cryptic Command, Supreme Verdict, all can sort of buy them time, but it's really kind of a question of whether their top end is going to deal with it. I suppose Elspeth here could have been a problem for us had it stuck around, but otherwise I think we're well set up. Counter magic isn't very good against us because we're not generally casting many spells, and like I say, the strategy of going so wide on the board makes it very difficult for them with their targeted removal and sort of snapcasters and etc. So yeah, seems like a good matchup for us, and definitely worked out very nicely for us here.